Now we wait and see how long it takes for the phone to fall over.
Just don't breathe too hard.
Steady, easy. It's alright. Camera's resting on top of gum container. The dashboard's at kind of a slant.
And then the phone's...
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it can see us just fine. I was staring at the light setting it up, so it's just kind of nothing, like, right here. Okay, so we just got out of The Last Witch Hunter.
Oh my god, so good. Remember the season of The Witch with Nicolas Cage?
Oh, I was reminded of that movie too during this.
This movie is what I was hoping Season of the Witch was gonna be when I went to see Season of the Witch.
This movie is, I've also got to see Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension later, and I don't think I'll enjoy that movie half as much as I enjoyed The Last Witch Hunter.
Just imagine they're all delivering their lines like Vin Diesel was delivering his.
Oh, God, I love Vin Diesel movies.
Just like a gaped mouth in between each line, and it's smiling at stuff for no reason, especially considering he's an immortal.
Yeah. You know what? I enjoyed that about this movie, because Vin Diesel plays an immortal in this film. This movie is basically Highlander crossed with,
Every Vin Diesel movie.
Yes. It's Highlander crossed with Dungeons and Dragons. So, and Vin Diesel he plays an immortal, and I like the fact that when we meet him in the movie in the present day, he's really not going through life like depressed or like, this sad loner type. He's perfectly okay with this.
Yeah, he wasn't really like, how some roles they portray an immortal is, really depressed at life, or perceiving all humans around them as basically children. No, Vin Diesel. No, he's just playing like a dude.
He's just fine.
Just like a chill dude on an airplane.
Yeah.
Fine with technology, and has a sword in his house. But
he's got a sweet apartment.
He does.
He's got his booze. He bangs stewardesses. Yeah, he's good.
Kind of bummed about his wife and daughter dying 800 years ago.
Because that was 800 years ago.
He's not letting that shit get him down.
Yeah, he's had plenty of time to move on.
Maybe he went to like a psychiatrist in the 80s, really got in touch with himself and worked through his problems.
Yeah, because kind of like Connor McLeod, it's like, I want to see this character through other decades.
Oh, God, yes.
Like, if we did a prequel to this, and it's during the disco era, or go even beyond that, like, they mentioned him and Hitler at one point in this movie, where it's like,
yeah, that was a little strange.
You've met Hitler and Stalin and Napoleon, because if you're immortal, then surely you've met all of these people.
Yeah, you hear about a dictator, and you just have to go see him.
Yeah. And apparently he didn't do shit to stop them.
Yeah, no.
But he's met them.
Well, they weren't witches.
Yeah, that we know of. That's why there needs to be a prequel to this.
Well, he didn't get a chance to shake their hands.
Yeah.
This is his witch hunting ring. This guy had more gadgets than Batman. Can I say? Because, every time that he'd, pull shit out of his pants pocket that was specifically designed for the situation that he was in.
This whole script pulls shit out of its ass. But at the end of the day, no matter what kind of monster you're fighting, no matter what kind of big Book of the Dead looking closet you have of weapons, you're still just you're gonna put the key ring in there, opens up, you're still just gonna go for that shotgun. There's this hellmouth spider scorpion thing running at him, just still shotgun blast to the head.
He had a conversation with Elijah Wood, who's in this movie.
Yeah.
And where Elijah's like, I should have a gun maybe, and he's like, here's a 14th level warlock. A gun's not gonna do shit against him.
Oh, but
meanwhile,
it does.
an hour later,
sword,
boom,
shotgun,
boom, swan dive.
Well, he's not going to give the gun to Elijah Wood, because I'm sure it is just as predictable to him how Elijah Wood's going to turn out at the end of this.
Yeah. Well, it's Elijah Wood. So, he's either going to be playing, a naive, ingenue, or he's going to be
evil.
Evil as fuck.
It's just one or the other. You're either gonna have just goofy Elijah Wood or Sin City maniac Elijah Wood. I love
Elijah Wood in Sin City.
I do too. He's terrifying in that movie.
He is terrifying in that movie. This one, not so much.
No, although he's rocking that white turtleneck way too much to be terrifying. I love Vin Diesel so much because Vin Diesel at the end of the day he's a big geek.
Yes.
And I love him. Like, because this movie, that this was just Vin Diesel just wanted to do a movie where he has a sword of fire and gets to do magic. That's all he wanted to do, and so, god damn it, he did it.
Gonna fight some witches, gonna bang some stewardesses.
Yeah.
Gonna say shit like 14th level warlock.
And witch prison.
We built them the perfect cover.
Oh, you raise a very good point. You put a bunch of witches in the prison, that will unfortunately turn into a coven. It's taken them 800 years to get their vengeance.
Which, do witches become immortal when they're in witch prison? I didn't really understand that.
I took witch prison as basically what they put the ghosts in Ghostbusters. Except in this universe, they at least give them a trial with tarot cards.
Yeah.
Like, we can't interrogate them, it's not in the cards.
So was the head of, like, the witch Inquisition, was she a bad guy? Because I got bad guy off of her, but nothing really happened with her.
No, they killed her before we knew the answers to it. Probably one of the many things that might be in a deleted scene in this movie.
Yeah, I really hope that him making out with Egret was a deleted scene. Because I really did not want them to make out, and towards the end it seems like they were. I didn't! First of all, there's the whole fact that he's 800 years older than her. Second of all, there's the whole pining for his lost love. And third of all, I wanted him and Elijah Wood to get together.
I think we all secretly dream of that.
Right?
No, I was okay with this being that kind of movie. Like, you remember at the end of Riddick, when he rides up with Katie Sackhoff and just grabs her on the ass at the end? Sometimes I'm just fine with it being that kind of movie.
I think it must be written into his writers or something.
They don't make out at the end of this.
No, they have like kind of like a portentious handhold, and then she's all like, "I'm gonna drive your car," and he's like, "Oh, you."
And then, like it ends where Fast and the Furious begins.
I would have felt bad for laughing as much as I did this movie. The people behind us weren't exactly in the same headspace as we were.
The people behind us were laughing, or at least somebody behind us was laughing in, I think, the spots where you're supposed to laugh at. Meanwhile, we're laughing at everything else. Like when Vin Diesel is on a plane at the beginning of this movie, and it is great, because he finds the witch on the... this is just one of those movies where it's like, this happens because, like, he finds the witch on the plane because he has a cup of water and puts a staple in it.
A magic staple.
A magic staple that leads him to the witch because he finds the witch who has these orbs with her, and he's like, you know what happens when you introduce a cold front to a warm front at 10,000 feet in the air. I hope that's Brian, or it's just some weird guy who pulled up next. It is?
Yeah.
Oh. I could only see glasses and facial hair. Don't worry, Dave. We'll spoil the movie for you later. But where was I? Oh, yeah, witches on a plane.
Yes.
And you can tell the witches in this movie because they're all alternative chicks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They're either alternative chicks or Josh Hadley.
Yeah. Well, as soon as Diesel walked in on the screen at the beginning of this with that, like,
I laughed.
Mohawk shit.
That was the first time I laughed in this movie. Is because, like, at first we go in the way, way back machine to when he was a Viking.
Viking Diesel, and it's great.
Yeah, because they're fighting the witches because the witches caused the Black Plague. And the way they made him look like a Viking is they gave him a big beard to cover up his laugh lines. And then they painted Macklemore's face on top of his face. So he had, like, mascara out the nines and, like, these big eyebrows and, like, eyeshadow. Like, it looked like CGI at first, and then that's just a shit ton of makeup.
Either way wouldn't surprise me. The CGI is terrible in this. There's a part where Although this is something that I do like that they address, since he is immortal and can heal himself, he does injure himself to get out of situations, like when he's handcuffed.
Oh, yeah,
and
that
just
was gross.
Breaks his, it's just awful CGI, but it's great. Like, he just breaks his hand and gets it through the cuff, and then just... comes...
Minimum.
Yeah, just to punch the guy out at the end. And so the opening scene in this, when they're fighting the witch, when it's kind of like Season of the Witch, this is such a terribly directed scene because I could barely tell what was happening here. Like, 1 minute he's wrapped up in CGI vines, the next minute he's falling down hell mouth.
Everything's on fire and made out of sticks.
Yeah.
And yeah, he got wrapped up with like ooze vines, and I have no idea how he got out of those because they killed his friends instantly.
Yeah.
But he's all like, rah, rah, blah, and
suddenly
then picks
he's
up his
out of
sword,
it.
and suddenly his sword's on fire.
Yeah.
And then he just stabs the witch through the heart, and this scene they keep hearkening back to, and it feels strange to be upset about this one particular part of the movie when the whole rest of it was so absurd. But, you know, when you go back into a person's memory in movies like this, and it always happens that, like, you have 360-degree field of vision.
Yeah.
Everything is just as clear as everything else. And I was thinking in the moment that I wish that for once a movie would show a memory like a memory actually looks, with, like, certain things clearer than other things, and, like, you can't see anything behind you.
Yeah.
But yeah, they like, because he kept having to go back to try and figure out the secret of his death, and there was a whole big subplot. That didn't
magic cherries and dreamwalkers.
Yes, Egret is a dreamwalker, which basically means she can go into dreams, but apparently that's like super evil in this universe, so it was a secret.
Well, because
until the plot needed her to be a dreamwalker.
Yeah, it's like, it's Freddy dreams. If you die in the dream, you die in real life. But it's okay because he's immortal.
Yes, they just mentioned that so that when someone dies in a dream later on in the movie, we're not like, what?
Yeah, he keeps making himself unconscious in this so that he can go back into his memories, and every time this happens, of course somebody shows up to handcuff him to something. or just try to attack him.
Yeah, considering all the, like, vials and potions, you'd think he'd have, like, a handcuff key.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need that when he can just break his hand through the handcuff. He probably didn't even need to do that. He was only handcuffed to just the grate or the vent on the floor.
So Josh Hadley basically came over, knew that he was going to be in his memory, brought a length of chain, exactly the length from the grate to where he was planning on standing, and from the grate to the shit ton of weapons over here on the wall. And then manages to attach it to the grate and attaches Vin Diesel to it, and then leaves them there like, ha 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 ha, I'm gonna set some stuff on fire.
He did. He set some. This was really funny. He sets this bar on fire, which is this magic bar run by witches. And so you have this scene where the whole bar is on fire, and then you have this poor girl who just runs up to it just with a lone fire extinguisher to try to put it out.
That was adorable.
That was hilarious.
I think that was meant to be laughed at.
That was
meant.
It was. The thing I love about Vin Diesel movies is that he delivers his lines in such a way that really does feel like he's in on the joke. It's like watching Sean Connery in Highlander. Like when he's saying stuff like that on the plane, like, you know what happens when you introduce this. It feels like he knows what kind of movie this is.
He's just kind of like, oh, listen here, young lady.
Yeah, he knows that he just wants to do a movie with a sword on fire. He doesn't care what kind of movie it is. He just wants a sword on fire, and he wants to say stuff like, the X and cross betrayed me. And it's delightful.
Yeah, like, most of this movie is just falling out of my brain at this point. Like, next week I'm not gonna be able to remember all the shit that I laughed at, but I will have remembered laughing. I'll
have remembered that I highly enjoyed myself at this film. This movie, which makes no sense. I really mean it when just shit just happens in this movie. It's the equivalent of when you're playing a game on the playground and you're playing it with that one asshole who's just making up shit. Like, oh, you can't stab me. I've cloaked myself in the magic bulletproof armor, so I'm still alive. Like,
you can't punch me. Pachoo! I threw up like a witch omen that is never used yet and hasn't been used since.
I'm gonna go play on the swings.
Ta-ting!
So, like, it's that, like, they'll go into the crime scene at one point, because Michael Caine is also in this film. They're sort of investigating his murder.
Yeah, they do. They're like, Michael Caine pops up as a voiceover early on in the movie, and I'm like, how the fuck did they get Michael Caine to do the voiceover?
Which is real.
Oh, it's because he's a character, a central character in this movie.
He is. His voiceover comes in, witches are real, but there is a truce, but that truce has been broken. Okay, all right. And then he shows up as the Exorcist. Not even the Exorcist. He shows up as the head of that group of priests from that Heath Ledger movie, The Order. Like, so he works alongside Vin Diesel in this, and they think he's dead. They're trying to investigate his murder, but he's not really dead, but he still looks like a corpse, and he's decaying, so Vin Diesel is keeping his corpse in his house on the couch.
It's worth mentioning that Vin Diesel's character calls Michael Caine's character Kid, and it is the least believable thing in this movie.
It absolutely, it's like, all right, he's immortal, so he's technically older than him, but man.
Stop saying that, it's Michael Caine.
Like, I don't know about this. I'm not buying that this immortal is older than Michael Caine enough to be calling him Kid. So, when they go into his room where the crime scene is, Vin Diesel, he just pulls some shit out of his pocket to throw it on the floor, which puts this writing alongside the wall.
Ooh, no. What happened in that part is actually that the writing was already there.
Oh, it finally happened.
The writing was already there, but the stuff he put on the ground got rid of the glamour that was on the room that was making it so we couldn't see the carnage.
Oh, okay.
But the way that they portrayed that is it basically, like, the room exploded.
Yeah, they basically portray... Here, I'll just hold it like this. They basically portray it as, like, I'm just supposed to know what that is. I mean, I quickly figured out, like, you know, like, okay, the staple in the, I thought that was Brian, unless he changed his mind and left. Like the staple, it's like, I quickly figure out what it is. It's just something that just you can do in this universe.
Well, apparently what you can do in this universe is take the staple out of a pamphlet, go like this, and then put it in water, and it's perfectly straight from one end to the other.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'm like...
It's like, I've tried unbending a paperclip, and that shit takes time.
And, like, the people on this plane are freaking out. There's massive turbulence because of these orbs that the witch has brought on there for some reason. But meanwhile, like, everyone's freaking out. They got the oxygen masks on them. But Vin Diesel and this witch, they're just chilling, having a conversation.
He's trying to undo the spell that she accidentally did by throwing these magic rocks in her backpack in a ball. And he takes time out of this while the plane is, like, plummeting to, like, catch eyes with the little kid 2 rows up, give him, like, a...
Yeah.
And then get back to working. And then does it again.
He is so delightful in this movie. He is, because it is a cross between, like, Dominic Toretto, because it's an action film, but also just how Vin Diesel is in real life. When you see him in interviews, and he just seems
like a big, doofy, friendly-looking guy.
Yeah, he just seems like the most delightful person in the world. And I'm pretty sure at one point in this movie, he stops a witch from molesting a child.
When?
Remember when the witch was luring that kid with a gummy bear tree?
Oh, that's right. Why the fuck was there a gummy bear tree?
To lure people like me who would fall for a gummy bear tree.
So, first of all, I guess you would.
Yeah, they're delicious.
So that means the Irish guy was the child molester, right?
Or
was Big Bad with the beard the child molester?
Big Bad... Because Big Bad with the beard was looking out the window at the kid going up to the... There's a part in the movie where this kid is walking down the sidewalk, and he just sees this trail of gummy bears going back behind this row of apartments, which, again, I would totally fall for, because gummy bears are delicious. If I saw a gummy bear tree, it'd be the happiest day of my life.
But these were gorgeous gummy bears. They were, like, twice the size of regular gummy bears and, like, perfectly sculpted, each and every one. Like... I was like, I would buy those gummy bears.
Oh my god, me too. It's like the time I went to a gummy bear store and was in heaven. Yeah,
well,
right?
Now I'm jealous.
So, I think that was in Rosemont. So the kid is pecking away at this tree to get these gummy bears, but then Vin Diesel comes up behind him and is like, "Don't steal candy from strangers, kid." The kid's like, "Huh?" and looks down, and it's like rotted fruit and
it's
shit
crab
like
apples.
That. Yeah, is that what it was?
Yes, because this movie said that his first lead was that the bad guy smelled like grave dirt and moldering crab apples. And I'm like,
I
good
can
on
see
you
that.
for using the word moldering, movie.
Yeah, I could see. He looked like a dude who probably smelled something like that. Yeah, the big bad with the beard, he was like looking out at the window with the kid. And like, and I was sitting there like, unless I missed why this was happening, which I'm sure I did because I was too preoccupied with the thought of, is he gonna molest this kid?
Take time out of his busy schedule of resurrecting the Witch Queen to molest a kid.
The last pedophile hunter.
But that Irish witch was a delight.
Oh, the guy who went to witch prison?
Yes.
That was
He
great.
was sassy.
He was, yeah. He was this dude. He gets put in witch prison, which again, they don't interrogate him because it's not in the cards. And so, which they literally say that. And so this monster comes out, that big spider thing with the hell mouth, and just takes him to witch prison, which we don't see at this point in the movie. You just see this big thing grab him and take him behind these steel doors, which just close. And I was like, what's happening behind it? Is there like just monster witch prison rape going on in the back of these doors?
It's a witch containment unit. It's a Twinkie the size of New York.
Yeah. Yeah, it is like, yeah, because it's in New York. And then when like, it does get a little, not totally like Ghostbusters, but at the end when it just like, the shit's just shooting through the air and it's wasps.
And Michael Caine has the best line in the movie, which is, "Well, look at you, you ugly bitch of a morning."
Yeah, I wish he had that line in The Swarm. You ever see The Swarm?
No.
It's a Michael Caine movie from the 70s where it's a disaster movie where it's killer bees. And so, yeah, it's like the end. I was like, oh, wow, he could be playing the same character from The Swarm. It's like bees are just descending on the city. I'm like, I wish he said that in The Swarm. That would have made that 3-hour movie worth it. Yeah, so he says that, and then this has gotta suck. When the witch dies at the end, the wasps just all die and just fall onto the city.
So yeah, it's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, where it's like, yes, they've won the day, but that's one bitch of a cleanup.
I know, and I wanted to see like stereotypical New Yorker guy react to this. Oh, what the...
I'm walking here.
That's a confusing fucking morning. There was one wasp left, and Michael Caine got it with his Bible and said, can't do that with an iPad, which I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I think you can kill all manner of bugs with an iPad. You just kind of bap.
I don't have an iPad. I don't know if it breaks in half if you try killing a wasp with it, but
We'll
I
borrow
doubt
Dave's
it.
and we'll try it.
Dave's got one?
Yeah.
Is he watching it right now? Or
think
just
so.
sleeping?
No, he's playing with his phone. I'm trying to remember. I heard someone say once that the way you pronounce Michael Caine's name like he would is you say my cocaine.
That's why he did The Swarm.
A lot of cocaine go into the making of that movie.
Huh?
A lot of cocaine go into the making of that movie.
It was an Irwin Allen disaster movie from the 70s, so probably.
I'm trying to keep my eye on the time for you, because I know that your next movie's at 9:30.
Yeah, it's like 7 minutes. I set my... Oops, and I also shut off our light. Oh, no. And he also set my alarm for 9:30.
Okay,
So,
okay.
oh, man, I gotta go. I gotta rush inside and see the ghost dimension. This movie wasn't in 3D.
No.
I mean,
It
I'm
didn't really
glad.
need to be.
But it also... Yeah, but it seemed like something that probably would have been. No, I agree. I'm glad it wasn't in 3D. Or if it is, this showing wasn't.
I feel like go see it if you like this kind of movie.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of I, Frankenstein, but better because it had Vin Diesel in it.
Yeah, when I was in New York a couple weeks ago, one of the guys we were hanging out with saw like an early screening of this, and I can't remember him being really into it, but I said something like, well, is it better than I, Frankenstein? And he was like, God, yes.
Put me on that guy. I, Frankenstein was amazing.
I've still never seen it. I probably should. This movie's getting about as good a reviews as I, Frankenstein, but I thought this movie was fun.
Yeah, well, this movie was funner than I, Frankenstein, but I found it in the same vein where, like, if you like that kind of movie, you'll like it, and if you won't, you'll hate it.
I can see that. Because if you, if, you know, the idea of a big old dumb movie with Vin Diesel going around shotgunning witches with a sword of fire, throwing it at shit, if that sounds appealing to you, you'll get a kick out of this movie, because that sounds appealing to me, and I really got a kick out of this film.
If you like the Underworld movies...
I don't know about that, because I don't like the Underworld.
I like the Underworld movies. This has more whimsy to it than the Underworld movies, but it has the same sort of, like, earnest supernatural feel to it.
Yeah, well, visually speaking, it looks not unlike an Underworld movie, but this movie has way more of a sense of humor, and, like you said, a sense of whimsy about it, and almost like Vin Diesel's kind of self-awareness in the film, more so than a lot of Underworld. Of course, there is, you know, Underworld does contain a Michael Sheen, so there is that.
This feels like... I feel like we keep making similes to try and describe this movie, but to me it feels like if Vin Diesel, like, played a tabletop game and he liked the story of it so much that he decided to make a movie out of it.
That's what I think this is, because he is a huge tabletop gamer in real life, so I'm positive, like, he's like, yes, fuck yes.
I'm a witch hunter, and then I find this lady, and she's really pretty, and she wants to be my friend and maybe more.
Because we're both loners.
And I've got a priest sidekick who turns out to be evil.
And I've got a Michael Caine narrator.
Michael Caine.
A Michael Caine corpse in his room.
Which I burst out laughing when when his corpse was in the living room, because the last time we saw Michael Caine's corpse was at the freaking church. So you have to imagine that after that scene took place, Vin Diesel went, hip, and then just carried him home.
Just threw him in his car.
I know you said that we wouldn't have time to do trailers, but there was one that I want to discuss.
Which one?
The one that was just saying my name over and over again.
Oh, the one with the forest.
Yes, because I'd never seen that one before, and it's Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones. Right? And so, like, I know that I'm probably not going to end up going to see it because it's a horror movie, but I want you to let me know how it is, because it looked fucking terrifying.
It's... I wish they had called it, they call it Suicide Forest, so I wish the name of the movie was Suicide Forest.
Right?
I think
that forest is an actual thing, isn't it?
Is
in Japan?
it? I have no idea.
It's like a forest where people just, like, wander off into to die. It's like in Japan or in Germany. Something like that.
Bad Woods.
I'll Google it, but yeah, it sounds familiar.
That's what the movie ended with them, with, like, the little thing at the end, like, Googling Suicide Forest. So...
I was looking down to write it down because it was just like, Sarah.
I know. I was like, oh, the movie's... Would you be really freaked out if I was like, they never said that in the movie?
You're just like,
please tell me you hear that.
What?
Brad, the movie's over. What credits?
Brad, that hasn't been a movie in 20 years.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
The movie's... I'm not expecting a lot from it because it's a horror movie that's coming out in January. So it's got that sweet Texas Chainsaw 3D time slot.
But yeah, I want that looks pretty good. I might just be biased because it kept whispering my name, which was creeping me the fuck out. This is the first time I've seen the preview for Victor Frankenstein.
Oh, I've gotten that like a dozen times.
Which that looks in my wheelhouse. And then we got a preview for Point Break, which I feel is worth mentioning because it's completely different than any of the other previews for Point Break we've gotten. Like, it's a different plot, this preview. Did you notice that?
It looked like it was this... Well, I mean, it looked like it's like Point Break, but it looks like it might turn into something like Fast and the Furious, in that Bodhi might not be a bad guy in this.
Well, because like all the other previews have been like, oh, they're stealing money because they live on the edge and they're daredevils who steal money. And this one, it's like, okay, they steal money, but it's mostly so they can fulfill these 7 ordeals.
Yeah.
And he's getting involved because he is also going to do the 7 ordeals, and they're searching for the 8th. And it's like, it looked like a different movie. It
still looked like a remake of Point Break, because even in Point Break, his dream was to
Spooky.
surf that big ol' fucking wave at the end of the movie, where Keanu Reeves is like, he's not coming back. Just made me want to watch Point Break. which is never a bad thing. That's a great fucking movie.
I've never seen Point Break.
So good. Oh my
I've
god.
heard it to be true. It's on my list of movies to see.
Oh god, I love Point
I need
Break.
to see that. I need to see Roadhouse. I haven't seen a lot of Swayze movies.
Yeah, Roadhouse. Point Break is a better movie than Roadhouse, but Roadhouse is still fucking Roadhouse.
The only experience I have with Roadhouse is that episode of Parks and Recreation where the TV goes out, so Andy just recreates the entirety of Roadhouse.
Which you could probably do in your living room. Well, alarm's
What a
going
movie.
off. I gotta go see another movie. Later.
Bye!